Welcome back to the Success Money Mindset podcast. It's me, Scotty Taylor Jr., and I want to talk to you about embodying the version of yourself that you want to be, that you want to grow into, the version of yourself that you want to emulate in order to accomplish all of your goals. And I want to tell you a story about how this worked for me and how this worked also for my best friend, because I was doing some reflecting on how I've seen quantum leaps in my business and how I've grown my business. And one of the areas that I think that Ashley, my best friend, and I have really excelled at, and the times that we've seen the most growth are the times that we really embodied the version of ourselves that we wanted to become. And so I can very vividly remember in 2020, I set a goal of $25,000 per month of revenue. I wanted to earn $25,000 per month. That was my goal, that was my intention, that's what I wanted to do. And up until that point, I had done 12,000, I had done 15,000, maybe 18,000. I had never done 25,000 at the time. And so what I did every single morning, because I heard this from a number of different teachers and mentors, they're like, journal it out, write out what you want, right? Like script out what you want. And I was like, okay, cool, all of that, I get it. And I would write out every single morning. I had my mantras that I wrote out every single morning, which were, I make $25,000 a month consistently, effortlessly, easily. I wrote out a mantra around clients. There are a limitless number of amazing soulmate clients that are dying to work with me and my team. So I wrote that mantra out every single morning. And I had some other mantras around love and around relationships and friendships. But those are the two work-related mantras that I wrote out every single day. And this is the part that when I coach advisors, when I work with advisors, this is typically the area that is a disconnect for them. So this is the area that I really want you to hone in on, to get locked into, because this is what will actually help you get to that next level, to transform to that next level. And it's really all about the embodiment of that version of yourself that is already doing the goal that you want to be hitting. So the way that this worked for me in my journey to $25,000 per month, which, by the way, I started writing that out in, I think it was maybe April 2020. And by September, October, I had hit 25,000 per month consistently, and I've never really dropped below 25,000 per month in the years afterwards. So 25K per month has been my baseline minimum from an income perspective, regardless of the different products that I've been selling, regardless of whether I'm coaching, whether I'm selling online courses, whether I'm doing real estate, regardless, it's always been 25K, consistently every single month. And so one of the things that I did at that time was really, really step into the version of myself that is consistently doing $25,000 per month. And this was me personally, so I'm just sharing from my experience, also doing it from a place of really enjoying my life and having lots of free time. And so this is the area that when I coach advisors, when I talk to advisors, when I see advisors that want to hit their next level, this is the area that is a disconnect for them. So they have this goal, right? So I have this goal. So I want to do 25,000 per month. Let's say your goal is 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, whatever your goal is. And then you think about that goal and you're like, cool, that's exciting for me. I like that goal. Maybe it makes me a little bit nervous. But then you go back and you do the exact same things every single day that have gotten you to where you are today. So if you're at 15,000 and you want to be at 30, if you keep doing the same things, you're going to continue to create 15,000 per month. So the question is, how do we shift into that 30,000 version of ourselves? Well, I can share with you from my perspective, when I sat down and I thought about the Scotty that was doing 25,000 per month, and I thought about that both from a tactical perspective as well as just a visioning perspective. From a tactical perspective, there were going to be certain things that I was doing differently. So the version of Scotty that's hitting Live Leader Summit, which is a Northwestern Mutual accolade, right? The version of me that's doing Live Leader Summit, the version of me that's doing 25,000 per month, the version of me that's not working past 4 or 5 p.m. on the weekdays, that version of myself asks for referrals in meetings and gets referrals in meetings, right? Because I don't have the time to be cold calling for 3 hours a day. Because that version of myself, the $25,000 per month version, if he's done working at 4 p.m., and he has like 4 meetings in the day, I don't have enough time to be doing 2 to 3 hours of cold calling. So that would not be in alignment with that version. So the version of me that was hitting Lives Leader is asking for referrals at every single meeting, even if it makes him uncomfortable. So I close my eyes and I think about that version of me, and I'm like, all right, I'm doing $25,000 per month, I'm hitting Lives Leader. That version of me, of course he's getting referrals in meetings. Now, at the time, I might be like, I don't really know how I'm gonna ask. I don't really feel comfortable in my ask. That's my opportunity then to work on the strategies. But if I visualize myself and I think, well, if I'm not working that much and I'm making a lot of money, obviously I'm working with good quality people that have money, and I'm also not spending hours and hours and hours trying to get one person on my calendar. Another thing that I adopted was the version of myself that is consistently doing $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 per year. He has to set minimums in terms of who he's willing to work with and not work with. And this is something I know that I had struggled with, and I know a lot of advisors struggle with this as well, this idea of setting client minimums of if somebody's below a certain income threshold, I'm not gonna work with you. And that's challenging, right? Because typically, most of us start this career because we love people, we wanna help people, we wanna be of service. And so to say, no, I'm not gonna work with you is really quite a challenging thing sometimes. But there are ways around it, and I teach different processes around this where the mindset that I adopted, that I would encourage you to adopt, that I coach people on, is if you have this desire to be doing $500,000, $1 million, right? You want to do doing $500,000, $600,000 per year. It's just reality that you're not going to be able to work with every single person. Like, we understand that, right? Your time is limited. So that construct is we can agree on that, right? So if that's the case, then you working with this person who makes $50,000, let's say, you working with this person, what that's gonna ultimately do is gonna hold you apart from working with other people, right? So that person's not gonna be able to allow you to work with other people because your time is limited. You won't be able to hit your goals, which means you won't be able to impact more people, which means that you won't be able to be a representation of what's possible. So you're actually gonna hurt way more people. You're gonna be impacting more people negatively by saying no to one person versus saying yes to other people. And the caveat to this is you don't actually have to say no to that person. Like, you don't have to tell them, hey, I'm sorry, I can't take care of you. You just say, hey, I would love to help you, so you're gonna be working with my team member, and you just have another advisor work with them. So it's not like this person won't get taken care of. Like, I think sometimes we have this grossly inflated view of ourselves. We're like, I am the only person that can help these people, and like, that's just not ultimately true. And the approach that I take is that if I don't really want to work with this person in my core, like if I'm not really aligned to working with them, but I force myself to because I think it's the right thing to do, I'm absolutely doing them a disservice versus allowing them to connect with an advisor who really is excited about working with them. So this is, again, going back to that $25,000 per month Scotty. So when I think about embodying that version of myself, and when you think about embodying this next level version of yourself, what we have to understand is that there will be discomfort. There will be some discomfort. It doesn't mean that it's going to be like sacrificing and so painful and so miserable, but there will be discomfort because you're going to do things that you wouldn't normally do. Another thing I can share is that the version of myself that continues to make more money every single year, when I think about it tactically, what does he focus on? Well, when I sat down and journaled it out, he focuses on generating revenue. He focuses on making money in his business. He's not sitting down and doing illustrations for a disability insurance policy. He's not sitting down and like looking at the fees for every single mutual fund for 100 different mutual funds to figure out which one's the best. That is not the Scotty 2.0 that's doing $50,000, $100,000 per month work, because that's something that my teammate can handle or somebody that I hire can handle. Again, not to say that I don't want to do those things, but we need to think about it from the perspective of it's all trade-offs and it's all priority. And so if you want to be hitting 20, 30, 50, whatever your number is, you need to start thinking about how that version of yourself would show up, how you would act, and then start acting from that place. That doesn't always mean like spend like they would spend, but it does mean that if you're thinking about your time and you're thinking about the version of yourself that would be doing $50,000 per month, you have to really be honest with yourself. Would that version of yourself be on TikTok for an hour in the middle of the workday? Again, I don't know if I'm calling you out or not, but I know sometimes that would happen to me. And so one of the things to really get honest with yourself is just look inward. This is not about me telling you what to do. This is not about me saying that there's a right way or a wrong way to do things. That's not what this is about. This is about you being honest with yourself. What are your goals and how does that version of you show up, right? So is your goal lots of money and you don't even care how hard you work? Cool, right? Then maybe that version of yourself is doing everything. Is the version of you the version of yourself that's making a lot of money and saving a lot of money or donating a lot of money? Do you also have a lot of time off? Like, these are all things for you to consider when thinking about embodying that version. And so I know from my best friend, Ashley, that when she was shooting for what we call Forum at Northwestern Mutual, which is like the top tier, like it's really top of the top in terms of accolades that you can get, and she had never come close to that. So she had never come close to Forum before, and yet she set the goal of Forum. And so that was basically her doubling her practice, which is a lot of growth in a 12-month period, like doubling your entire practice. And I remember she and I would talk about this when we were in this journey in 2019 together, and she would sit down and she would say to herself, what does a Forum advisor do? And she would say, I am Forum, I am Forum, I am Forum. When she was at the gym, she would tell herself, like, would a Forum rep give up after 2 reps or would they keep going? She's like, no, I'm gonna keep going. And she would be like, would a Forum rep ask for referrals and get referrals? Yes. Would a Forum rep expect to get inbound referrals? Yes. Would a Forum rep have a really robust LinkedIn campaign going? Yes. And those were all things that were true for her in reaching her goal. And she hit Forum. We had one staff person shared between the two of us. I hit Lives Leader Summit, she hit Forum. She has no accolades behind her name. All I had was my CFA that I got in 2014. So we're talking 5 years before. So I share all of that to let you know that you don't need to have you don't need the alphabet behind your name. You don't need to have every single thing figured out. All you need to do is embody that version of yourself. Hope this was helpful, my friends. I'll see you soon.